I'm coming from the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. My portfolio is Deputy Director Land Care. And I've studied agriculture, soil science, natural resources. So I possess masters in agriculture, but I also possess masters of science in ecological remediation, which entails also soil science as a major, geology and natural resources. So that's what I've studied for. And I've been working for more than 21 years in public service, but I'm not that old. Yeah, I still have got many years before pension if I continue with the same route of working for government. Yeah, close to 20-something years. So I worked early, or I started working at early age. And I've been within this middle management portfolio for most part of those years. I think 18 years of that, I've been around the middle management within the department and in the same field. I've never changed to other subsector within agriculture because I love what I do and I enjoy my work. When I looked at your invitation last week and the title, I was saying, wow, this is going to be a very huge task to fill. There is a lot of expectations. And I had quite a number of commitments that were taking my time to focus on that. And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot in terms of what I can share with colleagues. From where we are, from government point of view, and what I know about the subject matter. Then I coined the presentation as the nexus of soil minerals, plants, and human health. So there will be elements within that will be covered. And I realized that I've got colleagues that will be offering some of the issues that I might be covering. So that will be called repetition for emphasis. In adult learning, you see, you do it to emphasize a point so that the point is well assimilated. So it's also good. I will want to get the water so that I don't have to move. Thank you, ma'am. So I will be just sharing whatever that I have accumulated over years and from different expertise and actions that I've been involved with you, because learning begins with what you know. It's not going to come from what I'm saying. It will be your own experience based and interpreting what I'm saying. That's learning. The Department of Agriculture has got a mandate. So before I go on my topic, I'm going to share what we do as a department. We've got a mandate given the Parliament of South Africa to maintain production potential of land. And that's where your subject matter starts. So we have to maintain the production potential of land. It means the land must have sufficient capability and ability to feed its people. Then we are talking about these elements that we are going to be sharing or talking today about. Soil is one of that. Vegetations and water resources. Those are the very important natural resources that we are mandated, where I'm working, to ensure that they are protected, also enhanced, to feed the country. We use a number of various tools: regulation, permits, inspection, incentives, program, compliance, monitoring. Those are some of the various tools that we do, even technological gadgets to monitor the state of land and the likes and intervene, and also facilitate promotion, facilitate adoption of sustainable use of natural resources by the people of the country at large. So this is where we derived our mandate. And over years, in fulfilling that mandate, we've been using our Agriculture Research Council, the Institute of Soil, Climate and Water. It's mandated to gather data on our behalf. So we've been funding it to have what we call it national assets, to maintain them, undertake research on national assets. Soil is one of the national assets that we have as a country. So we do have a broad map in terms of the profiles that we have, above 4,500 that we have throughout the country, and the chemical analysis that we undertake with the lab, and we store that information for the country so that we know what's happening in terms of our soil resources in different parts of South Africa. We do the same to veld, and we do the same to water resources used for agricultural purposes. We also have a program called Land Care. My portfolio is called Land Care, Deputy Director responsible for Land Care. In that Land Care, you've got the philosophy, you've got the conditional grant, you've got the movement. The philosophy is the ethic that we want to embed into the people of South Africa to care for their land. The movement is the whole institutional arrangements of national, provincial, and stakeholders that needs to be involved in land care, because it's everyone's business, so that then we've got sustainable land that fits our people and that create livelihoods and the well-being for all. It's very important because we are also providing ecosystem services with our land. Our being here is because of those services. So we need to maintain the land resources. And agriculture as a land use provide better use of that. I don't want to say better than other land uses, but it do provide that. There is compatibility in terms of human relation and agriculture and our survival. Not only from eating, but our association with land. Our health by what we derive from either the microorganism below there in terms of antibiotics and other things that we get from the land resources. So we are dependent to these land resources. Hence we have a land care program that seeks to promote, rehabilitate, restore, cultivate this ethic of land management. So that is in a nutshell of where we are coming from as a department. And I think it's very important that I place that on record so that you understand what the government is doing, what we are trying to do, before I can talk to this subject matter. We are part of what is called Global Soil Partnership. I am nominated as a country focal point to represent South Africa at Food and Agriculture Organization with other member states of the world to talk about the issue of soil. This is something that has been conceptualized the past 5 years, is gaining momentum. We've got a number of plenary resolutions and we are starting to implement them as a country now. Within these global soil partnerships, we've got 5 pillars. One of them is about the promotion of sustainable soil management. One of them is research. Other one is standardization in terms of our labs, our soil labs that we have in the country to deal with these elements that we are talking about here, so that then we read from the same script. And we are trying to work on that as a country, as government, to address these elements in a way to promote their value and their importance. And we need allies and partners in all of these pillars. We will be embarking on a program of getting partners to know these pillars and to be with us by the side and guide us and help us in implementing this pillar in South Africa. We will be doing that as government. As I said, we have the legislations, but we're also having program, draft policy that seeks to address the low level of fertility in South Africa through conservation agriculture. You are quite aware that soil is a foundation of nutrition, and much is known about what we can do to improve or affect the soil health. Often, it's less documented in terms of the effect of that to people. It's very less documented or less shared, even at primary school. I normally engage my kids. They will master the periodic table, they will master, but their relations to very important basic needs, which is food, becomes very, because maybe less attention is given in terms of whatever that is in the CAPS documentation or the explanation part from those that are empowered to share that, it might be an issue. So there might be many factors. I don't want to say which one, but there might be factors. So we need to re-look into that so that then we've got the generation of people who relate the science with their own survival. Hence, we have food insecurity, even whereby people are well off. They've got resources. But by virtue of limited information in terms of what is it that they require to maintain their healthy lifestyles, then you will have the issue of, I hate to say obesity or others, creeping in. But those are realities that I think affect our health system and the likes. It starts from knowledge and access to information for that change. The statement that I want to put, I think, is that mineral status affects food production, and that affects food quality. It's a statement that I'm putting. We will talk about how when we go forward. The scientists are saying 99% in our human body consists of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. So our body is full of these elements. These are what we get from the air in particular, these type of elements. So they are very important for ourselves. Some are saying you can't take more than 16 minutes without oxygen, then you will start to suffocate. So you need more plants. So you need agriculture and forestry to put more plants and maintain plants so that then we have oxygen. We may take it for granted, but it's very important. And these other minor elements, not that they are not important, but they contribute to some extent, and other trace elements. These are the backbone of agriculture. Your primary, your secondary elements, your trace elements are the primary backbone of agriculture. And examples has been made which are very scary, even here in South Africa. They are saying 28 million deaths annually because of zinc in the world. We know here in South Africa it's almost 5 million people affected or suffering from lack of zinc. I need to qualify the dates. That's the one that I need to look around. But it's quite, the number is scary. But this is a data set for a world, but it's very scary. So we've got deficient zinc soils in South Africa and throughout the world. And this results in death. Then you can value the importance of these elements, either trace or primary or secondary, because they affect our cells. So I think it's befitting that during the year of, is it 154 of the periodic table? 150, that we reflect about soil as the major constituent of these elements, because we derive most of them via soil, plants, animals, or plants into our body. And we are there at the apex as humankind. So we need to value soil. That's the message I want to say. We need to value soil and agriculture, because we are at the apex of that. We depend on that soil. And that's where the trace elements are constituted. The one that is worth to be shared, the impairment in brain's function and mental development, I think is worth to be shared, because this affects humankind severely. There is a lot of social ills that comes from there. Because if you are impaired at that early age, your progression to secondary to higher education is limited. Then we will ask, why do we have a high drop rate in South Africa? We do have high drop rates of our learners. You trace it back to this.